All right, welcome back after a little dinner break. We've been kicking around what to focus on right now, and partly per the agenda, and mainly because it makes sense. We're now in a situation where um, uh, we basically our dream came true of humanity in front of computer screens ready to Zoom, right? Because they're doing very little else right now other than eating and sleeping. And I mean, yeah, a lot of people are doing other important things. I get it. But I'm just saying people are at home a lot with availability that they didn't have before, right? That it was hard to dream of before. So our dream came true, but at what price? At the price of the coronavirus. And so basically, we now have all the raw materials we need to assemble collective superintelligence and have it take off way faster than we had anticipated. But we now have far greater urgency than we did when we started the block party, mental urgency, perceived urgency. Because when we started the block party, we were mainly focused on SRM as the most urgent thing, cooling the planet with SRM, bam, right? Within a fully functioning global economy, mind you, right? So, and that was still going to be a challenge with a fully functioning global economy. With a global economy that's shut down, guess what, everybody? Doing this is going to be a lot harder. So, strategically, here's where I'm going with this. Okay, are you guys ready for this? This is a big concept I'm going to throw down. Okay, strategically, here's the big strategy. Kill the coronavirus as quickly as possible and make it safe for the world to get back to work for multiple reasons, right? I've talked about the Monty Python Godzilla foot that would come down and squish all those people. Well, guess what? The foot's coming down, right? And the foot consists of the following parts. Vastly faster planetary overheating than we had before because of the loss of global dimming, okay? Vastly faster overheating. Hunger, disease, shutdown, people huddled at home, and everything just keeps shutting down, and the world just keeps overheating, and our ability to fight the overheating is diminishing as the economy shuts down, okay? That's the reality of the situation we're in right now. I remember, I think it was last week or the week before, I forget which, help me out to remember, but I remember being very explicit with someone, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I think it was with Mark, saying it's important to know where we're at in the football game, right? Who's ahead, by how many points, and where are we at, which quarter, what minute and second, and where are we at in the field. And that was relative to, take that same concept. We're now in a very, very tough position on the football field. The global economy is collapsing, and with it, our ability, with it come two big things. Number one, temperature spike. Number two, vastly diminished capacity to address that, right? Because we live in a see, now Les and I totally agree. We live in a very fragile, just in time, low inventory global economy that is hyper connected, right? People used to talk about, if you take out even one country like Taiwan, it would totally disrupt, the technology, the computer industry. I believe it. Taiwan totally dominates certain niches. Singapore dominates others. Mainland China dominates the majority of the niches in terms of hardware, anyway. Anyway, and we're not just talking about taking out Taiwan. We're talking about taking out the whole global economy. So the bottom line is where are we on the football field? There's not a lot of time left on the clock, number one, okay? And number two, the opposing team has the ball and they're charging down the field, and we're already down a buttload of points. So we basically need to pull off a series of miracles at this point, one right after the other, or near miracles. And the first is unleashing a really, really steep exponential trajectory of collective superintelligence. That is the long bomb we've got up our sleeve, right? But it's more complicated than a long bomb. You guys know what I'm talking about. James, Stephanie, a long bomb in football. All right, that's where you just pass the ball like 3/4 the length of the field or something. And it's like when it's like the last thing you can do. Not only do we need to do a long bomb, and Emery, I know you got your hand up, and I'll get to you. Nolan, welcome back. So we're just starting off with a frank. Could you hear what we were saying, Nolan, or you're just fresh from the kitchen or something?
I'm fresh.
You're fresh. All right. Anyway, we're just taking a frank assessment of where we're at. And the bottom line is two things. The global economy is collapsing. With that comes two things: accelerated temperature rise and diminished capacity to address it, right? Kind of a worst of both worlds scenario, right? And so what that leads me to the conclusion of, temperature spike is a loss of global dimming, right? Reduced capacity to respond by any measure. We're just getting pummeled from every direction. Every industry is getting pummeled right now. It's almost unthinkable, but amazingly, our species, we just keep going and keep talking with each other no matter what's happening, right? I guess I'm kind of surprised I haven't fainted yet. But anyway, the bottom line is this. The only path forward at this point that I can see that gives us good odds of surviving this summer, in terms of the heat and the melting of ice and the runaway overheating, if we have an ice-free Arctic this summer, for example. We simply cannot afford the runaway overheating of an ice-free Arctic this summer. We can't afford it. We can't afford much more of the global dimming that we have. All this leads us to both of these effects. Either one of them on its own would lead me to the following conclusion, but both of them leads me to almost want to scream the following conclusion from the rooftops, and here it is. The only way out of this mess is to become smart enough and sophisticated enough, fast enough, that we exponentiate with a really steep exponential curve. We exponentiate the hell out of collective superintelligence so that we become brilliant enough, fast enough to stop the coronavirus, make sure everybody has enough to eat, of good, solid vegan foods, okay? And, take care of those two basic things, which at this moment in history right now are absolutely intimately intertwined. Look, the day we have a vaccine that just knocks out the coronavirus, it's gone, and then we're back to the old world. If we can get back there fast enough, that's why we got to take out corona super fast, right? So let's see here. Thank you, Les. Les just gave me a tip on lighting. Ooh, okay, let's try that. It's just that it kind of reflects on my glasses, but maybe I'll just do it without glasses. Okay. So, the strategy, for me, the only strategy that makes any sense at all right now is a super accelerated strategy where we drive collective superintelligence into the steepest exponential, so that we're just orders of magnitude smarter than, say, NASA at its peak, within a matter of weeks, really. We don't have a lot of time to screw around. The good news is we can exponentiate it. Emery, are you cool with me screen sharing for a little bit? I'm kind of on a roll here. How you feeling there, buddy? Oh, you're cool. Okay, thanks, Emery. Thank you for being cool. All right. So let me get to the window I want to get to. Okay, so you've all probably seen this set of slides before, but it is so crazy powerful. I mean, it used to be just like kind of like a faraway dream, right? But now it's our lifeline to continued existence on the planet. And before I get there, here, let me get right back. Here's the thing. Everybody knows about the coronavirus. How many people know that we urgently need to do SRM ASAP, right? Probably a majority of the population thinks that the global shutdown is good for the environment, right? And there certainly are some good things about it. But in terms of exponential planetary overheating, this is a doomsday scenario. So that's why we got to get out of it insanely fast. And the only thing that I can imagine, and if you can think of any other examples, tell me, but the only thing I can imagine that'll get us out of this mess in time is the exponential growth of collective superintelligence. Here it says radical collective intelligence. That's the flavor of collective superintelligence that Radish is pioneering, which you all know well. But just think of it as collective superintelligence. They're kind of synonymous, basically. All right, so we got the platform, and then the actual collective intelligence, which grows on top of the platform, right? And as more and more people join and get to know each other and have more and more conversations, the collective superintelligence grows. The actual collective intelligence grows. And it grows and it grows and it grows, and it doesn't stop growing, but at some point, its growth is constrained by the platform itself and its features or lack thereof, or just its fundamental architecture, or whatever. It'll have whatever limitations it has. The reality is we're using a platform right now. This thing is real. It's called the specific combination of Zoom, YouTube, email, Facebook, Twitter, and HTML, and that we're using. Okay, and it's cobbled together MacGyver style with chewing gum and baling wire. And yet it's the raft that we're floating on right now as we work our way across the Nile. Well, the good news is that this brain, which is now overloading this raft in this scenario, right? You are here, you're about to be here. And so we're kind of overloading the raft. But the good news is that this actual collective intelligence that's accumulated can now set about the task of designing and building, drum roll, the next generation of the platform, which can support a vastly greater collective intelligence, which can then start cranking out urgently needed solutions. And, to the coronavirus, for example, dozens of solutions, hundreds of solutions, including solutions which will lead to the development of a vaccine in record time. And of course, this collective intelligence will also be able to, drumroll, design and build the next generation of the platform, which will be able to support vastly greater collective intelligence. Because two things are co-evolving at once, really three things. One is the number of people who join the collective intelligence, and they start off by dipping their toe in, right? Saying, hi, everybody, I'm just listening. Okay, great, welcome, They start off by dipping their toe in, and then, so that's one thing, is just the number of people, but then their engagement increases, and that's the second thing. And then the third thing is the platform is evolving. So you have a co-evolution of three things: headcount, engagement, and platform. And that 3-piston engine is just what the doctor ordered to drive this exponential like crazy. Because listen, most of the evolution in the platform is software. Hardware is overkill. We've already got, ask Shankar. Shankar, do we have enough hardware in the world to power 1 million collective intelligences? Yes, probably closer to 1 billion. I mean, we just have a surplus of power, computational power, right? Mm-hmm. They could shut down the whole computer industry. I don't care. That's the least of my worries. Hardware, we got it, you know? And as long as the fiber optic cables don't rust out, we're connected, right? As long as they don't shut off the power. And this gets to some pretty critical points, actually. For the power industry to keep humming along, for the water industry, you know, municipal water, it's an industry like any other industry, just has very few. Anyway, for all these industries to work, they need to be supplied with spare parts, technicians, etc. Well, a lot of technicians are going to be dead. Spare parts, as factories shut down, are going to be in short supply, and we're going to be in trouble. So anyway, look, all this points to we have very little time. No matter how you slice it, you could slice it from any conceivable angle. The bottom line is we have very little time, to the point that days count, right? So because of that, we have to be extremely strategic about how we get the word out and to whom and when and through what channels. And it's time to start waking people up. I'm just thinking of the friends I know who in turn are super connected, right? Who just know lots of people. And it's time to tap those friends. And I don't want to name any names at the moment, but I want to send this segment of video to those friends. So now I'm talking to you, my friend. This is a videogram to the future, but I'm going to send it to a bunch of different folks, right? And the videogram goes like this. Listen to the last few minutes. Take it in. And what this means is we need to stop screwing around. And we need to get your best people, the people who are going to be most capable of jumping into this conversation, getting it, and either agreeing or disagreeing. Guess what? If they disagree, if they've got a better way for us to save life on Earth, I would love to hear it. And I will shred all my plans and follow you or your friend or whoever if they have a better way forward. The pathway forward we're offering is collective superintelligence. That's our big secret weapon. That's our equivalent of Russian hypersonic missiles, nuclear missiles, right? That's the secret weapon that's undefeatable. Now, is it guaranteed to work? No. But like I say, does anyone have a better idea? If not, let's all get behind this one and do it. Or if there's a better idea, let's do that. But let's pick our horse and ride. Because the bridge is about to get blown up. And we won't be able to cross it after it's been blown up. That's the problem, right? Our lifeline to a future is a global economy and a global geopolitical system and a global food system and a planetary overheating problem, which all together make for an extremely fragile situation. And a big bull is about to come charging through the whole thing and destroy it all, unless we get control of it. We can get control of this situation with exponentially growing collective superintelligence, just like that diagram showed. There's no stopping point for that. We can grow arbitrarily intelligent. In a way, it's kind of like unleashing a benevolent atom bomb in that, we're not, this is kind of like a Manhattan 2, right? A Manhattan Project, but with a benevolent aim of creating a benevolent collective superintelligence, right? But just as developing that nuclear technology had unintended consequences, right? I guarantee you, exponentially growing collective superintelligence is going to have unintended consequences. There's no question about that. The question is, and this is why it's so close to the Manhattan Project. In the case of the Manhattan Project, they didn't really have too much choice because they didn't know what the Japanese were developing or what the Germans were developing or who was developing. And so, you know, and they were definitely playing for keeps in World War II. They were definitely playing for keeps. So it really mattered. And so they made a difficult choice. You know, their choice was, do we develop the bomb or not? Why am I harping on this issue? Because it's so darn parallel to what we're dealing with here. The solution to our problems is launching a technology which is going to grow exponentially. And therefore, let's see. I'm just saying there's risks to what we're doing, but I think the risk of not doing it is essentially certain annihilation for our species and probably most of complex life, given what a mess we've made of the planet, the likely scenarios of exponential overheating and nuclear plant meltdown and attendant consequences. Basically, it's Guy McPherson's worst nightmare, you know, coming to a theater near you very soon. That's the problem, okay? And so we need to unleash something of commensurate force to stop it. And the it is now a multi-pronged it, right? Before, we were mostly focused on planetary overheating because it was the biggest driver of most of the other serious problems like desertification, forest fires, sea level rise, melting of ice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Most of that could be traced back to planetary overheating. And then Corona showed up. And we're like, okay. That is like a double scoop. Exponential planetary overheating was a big enough scoop of ice cream. Now another giant scoop plopped on top of that. And it's much more fast acting. And like exponential overheating, it impacts a whole bunch of other problems. It exacerbates a whole bunch of other problems, like, you know, global dimming, economic output, ability to generate SRM and deploy it worldwide, right? We need the economy back, folks. We got to get the economy right back. And it's like somebody who's being dunked underwater. They can't last forever. Pull them up after a few seconds and okay, they're fine. Pull them up after a couple of minutes and you're gonna have to pump a lot of water out of their lungs and try to get them back, okay? We have such urgency, it's almost unthinkable. But again, the one thing that can get us out of this mess is exponentially growing collective superintelligence. That's the only thing I can think of. And again, if you or your friend or your friend's cousin or whoever, or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whoever who thinks they're so darn smart has a better idea than this one, we need to know about it. Just send me the YouTube link. You don't even have to introduce me to the person. Send us the link. What do you got? What's your strategy? What's your plan? How do we get out of this? Well, you know, we can develop a vaccine. That may be 12 months away. And in 12 months, the global economy is ground to a halt with cascading impacts, which we're already starting to feel. Les is already talking about martial law, right? Most of the service industries are shut down. I heard about negative oil prices. Why? Because you got all this oil that's just gushing out of the ground, right? That can't be stopped. Somebody take it off my hands. What are you gonna do? Dump it in the ocean? right? The economy can no longer catch all the fastballs that 150 pitchers are throwing at it. There's one catcher and 150 pitchers. The catcher can't do it. He's getting pummeled. So we're in unthinkably deep doo-doo, and there's only one way out that I can think of. And I'm not going to keep repeating myself. If you got a better answer, bam, we need it right now. Out with it. And whatever it is, whatever the winning solution is, everybody in the world needs to get behind it ASAP. And no, I'm not the director of the United Nations. What the hell credentials do you need? Right? And first of all, there's not one of me, there's 100 of me and growing. Welcome to Collective Superintelligence. Emery, you've been very patient, and James, thanks for the support, and thanks to everyone. Go ahead, Emery.
Well, Jamin, the things you're saying and the way you're presenting our situation, it's simply absolutely terrifying. You know, it's petrifying. It's terrifying. Simply put, you know, I mean, there's no way of getting around it, right? And you know, as tragic as it is with the corona, you know, and we're trying to set priorities here, but the priority is we're not able to give up the priority, okay? The priority was SRM. Why? Because we have to get it down, the temperature down. And this corona is just, you know, bringing it up, right? I mean, it's a paradox. We got to put everything that we can possibly get up into the air, like they're doing. Okay, they're putting the planes up in the air, even without passengers, right? Because they can't afford not to have, you know, the emissions up in the air to reflect the rays of the sun back. Okay, they're doing that for a reason, but you know, they're going to have to triple their efforts. You know, and no, I'm not I don't know. Beyond that, the answers is, you know, we lay it out on the table. You know, if you're not petrified enough to dig deep, okay, then we deserve what we get.
So here's what I'm doing, and I request everyone do the same, like literally right now. I mean, there's no other time but now. I'm texting the people I know who have the most contacts. And I'm sending a different text to each person, because with each person it's a different, you know, it's a different relationship. Their understanding is different. But this is our work right now, is we need to round up as many people who, for lack of a better word, are grown up enough to have this conversation. And the good news is people are growing up quickly now. All right, Les, you got your hand up. Go ahead, Les.
Yeah, we're kind of in a situation. I mean, if they like lock us down so we can't go out and do things, then we're kind of in a pickle, because that means we can't even do SRM, or, you know, there's like all kinds of things we can't do.
I totally disagree. Actually, now is the perfect time to be locked down, because again, like the person whose head is being held underwater, We've got seconds to work with here. They're not dead yet. We're not dead yet. So
Right.
please lock us down. Now, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, we're underwater. Now that we're underwater, we got to do a buttload of this so that we can get CSI exponentiating. And with exponentially growing CSI, with all the stuff we've been talking about, with AI and everything else, so that we get the right microbiologists, with the right immunologists, with the right anesthesiologists, with the right epidemiologists, and anything else that ends with ologist, okay? We need to get all those ologists together to crack this thing. But it's not just one team of ologists, it's like a whole network of ologists. We need the CSI to develop the optimal network of ologists with access to the right laboratory equipment and everything else. And we need to accelerate the bleep out of this thing. Development, testing, modeling, manufacturing, all those efforts need to basically get launched in parallel. We may have days to weeks to develop a vaccine so that the world doesn't fall apart in that time frame. I mean, how many seconds can we hold the guy's head underwater, right? That's like how many, I don't know, weeks we've got, or days, or I don't know what. I mean, here's the thing. We don't know how much time we have. Now I'm starting to sound like Guy McPherson. I don't know your expiration date. I don't know mine. The precautionary principle dictates that we can't screw around. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to keep texting people until I hear either a better idea or, because we got to round folks up. Fuck it. You know? We got to round folks up, and then they got to round folks up. And then Joe Rogan's got to do a meeting with us like tomorrow. And then he can round up the other suspects.
Okay. Are you suggesting that we like stop our chat now and just like try to contact our people?
Yeah. You know, if you need to call somebody, just mute your microphone, make a call. We'll just be here. I remember the one who taught me this trick is none other than former Mexican President Vicente Fox. We did our third big public event in San Francisco, and at the Sir Francis Drake Hotel, or whatever big hotel, I think it was the Drake. Anyway, and we got through our whole event and everything was great. And we had like a couple hours on hand. Now, several weeks later, we had a giant international symposium that we were organizing, and it was time to, and President Fox said, get out your Rolodexes, everybody, get on your phones, call the people you want to invite. When you get a live one, give me the phone and I'll close them. And so a bunch of us are around there. We're all in this big hotel conference room. We're all calling the who's who of the cannabis industry in that case. And every time we got a live one on the phone, we gave it to President Fox. Yes, hello, Michael. This is President Vicente Fox of Mexico. And they would just fucking faint. I mean, anyone in the cannabis industry knows the drug industry, and everybody knows the drug industry knows that Mexico is the hottest place on the planet. And to be the president of Mexico takes some big balls. Holy shit. And everybody came. Michael, this is President Vicente Fox of Mexico. How are you? All right. So in our case, okay, this is our conference room. And instead of President Vicente Fox, we have collective intelligence. What does that mean? Call your peeps and say, I need you to pop into this video conference. Is it recording? We'll pause when you get here. Go ahead, Les.
Okay, so is there a time that we should ask them to join the meeting? Because otherwise, you know, if we're in the middle of contacting our people, it's not going to be a good time to like for them to come join the chat, right?
No, I'll tell you what, everybody just, keep an eye or an ear on what we're doing here. And when we get a live one in the room, put your phone down. If you're in the middle of a call, say, hey, listen, I'll call you back. We've got a guest who I need to attend to. Like if I do this, it means everybody come, we need you. If I'm not doing this, stay on the phone and still keep an eye on what we're doing. We can multitask. It's not a big deal.
All right.
Let's just do it. Look, we're about to die. Let's at least try, okay? All right. So everybody call your peeps and get them in here. I'll be here. I'll keep an ear on this. If you have any questions, text them, call them, email, do whatever you do. Facebook, tweet, whatever you need to do.
Okay, dope.
Okay. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah, is it all right to speak there, Jim? And yeah,
Please.
yeah. As much as I'd like to get on the hooter now and start calling people around, I don't know. It's nearly 4 a.m. here or something. I don't know, so I can't really do that here. But I've already more or less emptied my contacts list anyway, and sent on numerous times, sent on links for this conversation, and so. I'll do it again tomorrow, and I'll kind of get a bit more stern with the messaging in the sense in the sense of the urgency I'm talking about, because you're bang on right. There's no time for pussyfooting around anymore. No, and like what you're saying there about everything that our worst nightmares are actually descending on us, and majority of us haven't a clue because we don't know what's going on. Most people just don't. They're just focused on the coronavirus, but it's just so many other things behind it that are coming in on top of that they just don't know. So it is time to start warning people about that. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and don't be fooled by political leaders singing a very different tune than what I'm saying. Right?
Well, yeah.
They've got access to very smart folks, okay? The United States, we've got the Jason Group, we've got, teams within the CIA. We got some pretty smart folks among the 350 million of us, right? We got some pretty smart folks in the mix. And I think they know what the hell's going down and how unstoppable it is. And also how, unworkable President Trump is. Because he makes up his own mind on whatever the hell he wants to do. He's not very good at taking advice. He's pretty selective about it. So, Emery, I see you got your hand up, and I'll get to you in a sec. I just wanted to say, don't be fooled by any lack of communication from the powers that be. They don't know what the hell to do, okay? And what's interesting, here's the thing. This community, there's not very many of us at the moment who actually understand the combined impact of exponential planetary overheating meets coronavirus shutting down the global economy, right? There's very few of us who are actually, and who know that there's a solution. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exponential planetary overheating. Very few people know about that, comparatively. The impacts that the corona will have on that. Actually, a lot of people know about the impacts of corona, so that you don't have to be a genius to know about this. It's shutting down the economy, and okay. This is where people are at. They don't know about the exponential overheating. They don't know that there's a solution to it, and they don't know about collective superintelligence. So they're missing 3/4 of the picture, right? They're like the 3.5-year-old girl from 20 feet away watching a glass vase tip off the dining room table and fall, and it's about to shatter, okay? What she doesn't know is that it's packed with C4 explosive, and then when it hits the ground, a lot more than the vase is going to break. That's what's going on. They're just like, I mean, they know it's going to be bad, but they have no idea that the whole house and all the family are about to get blown to smithereens. No clue.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I'm on about. Like I could only kind of treat this with kid gloves when I was trying to get this message out to the people that I know, because as I said, the majority of people, and I'm talking about people on the ground, you know, ordinary people on the ground, my family and friends and that. So I they just didn't have an idea what the situation was with the climate, other than the average news that you get in the mainstream. So I couldn't just land all that information on top of someone straight away without them having any idea about it, as you know yourself. So I've been trying to treat it with kid gloves all along. But their awareness now is a lot more that well, let's say they have a lot more awareness now than they had a few months ago. So they're more willing to listen anyway. So, but the message is getting more serious anyway, because if you look at Roger Hallam's he had a video up there yesterday on YouTube. He had to do a Zoom talk with a group of people in America because he wasn't allowed to leave the country to go to America, and he wasn't allowed into America either because of his involvement with Extinction Rebellion. But that was a pretty gruesome talk to ordinary people on the ground, and he told them the way it was. And you know, it's only recent; it was only put up 2 nights ago, as far as I know. But he's telling it now how it is as well, and you know, it was a shocking talk to tell people, but that's the way people have to be told now. Like there is no such thing as we have a bit of time anymore. Like we just have no idea what time we have left.
Yeah, we're just flat out of time, back against the wall. But look, the good news is we've got the freaking solution. We could do a hackathon this weekend if we had enough coders, right? But right now, it's not coders that I'm looking for at this moment. Right now, we're looking for people who can join the conversation, who have the potential to invite to bring in at least one other person. Why? Because that other person may be able to invite 5. And by then our numbers will have grown, right? So every warm body counts at this point. And don't discount anyone, right? And here's what's going to happen. People will come in here, we'll tell them what the facts are. Either they get it or they don't. And if they don't, we're not going to sit here and argue with somebody who wants to argue. Either you get it or you don't. Do you get it? Yes, then stay and join the urgent mission to save life on Earth. If you don't get it, please, no. Well, hang out until you do. But we're not here to argue. We're here to work with people who get it. If you don't get it, we're not going to talk with you until you do. Listen in, but we're not going to spend any more time, hand-holding, because we simply don't have the time, right? It'd be like the biggest fire in San Francisco's history, and they've had some big ones, and the fire chief is there directing traffic, doing whatever he can to put out whatever fires, and his nephew comes along and pulls on his coat and says, Uncle, can you play crossword with me? And he says, not now, kid, and the kid goes away crying. Sorry. Love you, not now, get away. Get this kid away from me. Fuck. That's where we're at right now. We don't have time to screw around. If you get it, join us. If you don't, shut up and listen until you get it, and then join us. It's as simple as that. Let me talk with Melissa and see who she can see. This is thinking out. Yeah, she's right here. And she knows a whole bunch of people. So, and Emery, you got your hand up. Go ahead, Emery.
YouTube took down the video stream.
YouTube took down. It says live on YouTube.
Well, it's not live on my end.
All right.
I'll screen share if you want.
No. Nolan's verifying. When I click on the three dots, I've got an option to stop live stream.
Says we've removed this video.
It's down.
Violates our community guidelines.
It's down here. Yeah.
Community guidelines. Here we are trying to save life on Earth. Apparently, saving life on Earth is against community guidelines. Does anyone have an idea when it got taken down?
My comment before was going to be that I'm pretty sure that they have surveillance on what's being communicated on YouTube.
Oh,
That was
It
what
it
was gonna
it,
say.
it was online about 30 minutes ago.
Okay. As we've been talking about the degree of urgency and that we need to bring people in and bring people in and bring people in,
Yeah,
in the last 30 minutes, and we don't know exactly when,
yeah.
YouTube cut off the live stream. We're no longer broadcasting.
Uh,
They've shut us down, and they said because we violated some community guideline. Here we are trying to save life on
In
Earth.
terms of,
Well, what if you started the whole thing again and tried?
yeah, they don't want us to be saved. They're trying to kill us.
Well,
They want to reduce the population to like less than 1 billion, and they don't want us to save ourselves.
well, they don't understand the gravity, the cascading impacts. If anyone who wants that kind of outcome is either clueless or they want omnicide, because they're,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, as we say in Mexico, hay de dos sopas. There's two kinds of soup at this restaurant, okay? One is called life, the other is called death. There is no in between.
So there are ways around it. We just go through all our names and just set Block Party up under our different names, and we just keep rotating.
Well, no. I mean, we're still recording. Well, we're doing Zoom. Zoom hasn't shut us down. YouTube
Yeah.
shut us down.
Yeah.
And this is a fortunate twist of history, the fortunate twist being that Zoom is not a social network. If Zoom were a social network, they'd have been corrupted by now.
Right.
YouTube is owned by Google.
You think it is something because the words are there? I know. Just a
Jeez.
Nobody said any words.
We're subversives.
Nobody said any bad words. Everything is documented here, you know. And,
No, we haven't.
We'll put out a video afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
And the truth will be what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Let's keep it concise and matter to a minimum in terms of, you guys know what I mean. Okay, Emery, you got your hand up.
No, I said what I wanted to say there. You know, I'm
Good.
just saying that we'll put out a video afterwards. That's
Yep.
all. I mean, there's no way of getting back the lost time there, 30 minutes.
All right, that's all right. Well, let's not lose any more time then. Let's keep chatter to a minimum and let's focus on what we need to do. Okay? And if you have an idea of what we need to do, speak up. If you don't have an idea of what to do, please don't speak up. And let's work on rounding people up.
Do as much research with as much passion as you have the other ideas, because together
Wait, can you repeat that, please? Or is that coming from some other stream? I heard research the ideas you have, because if you come
I
together.
think it was coming from me.
Okay. Okay, they're also, I just got information that they're also blocking comments on Facebook. It says no one else can see your comment. Okay, so they're shutting us down, all right? They are attempting to shut it. Let's frame it differently. They're not shutting us down. They're attempting to shut us down. And the fact that they're attempting to shut us down should be part of the story, right? So anyway, I'm going to confer with Melissa for a couple of minutes because she's one of my top connectors. I'll be back.
Well, we should continue recording this anyway, because when they refer to when they refer to community guidelines, I presume the YouTuber on about their own community guidelines that were breaking their guidelines in some way. I don't know, but as far as I know, we're entitled to freedom of speech, and that's all we're doing is having a conversation here. So we're not breaking any laws.
No, we're not doing anything wrong. All we're guilty of is trying to save life on Earth. Back to you, James. Sorry.
Exactly. So we're entitled to freedom of speech. So we're not breaking any laws. So we should make sure we record this and let people know like that the powers that be are shutting us down from actually trying to help people and have a conversation about it. So that if that doesn't scream at people now that something is not right in the system, I don't know what does.
So here's what I think is happening. Yeah, go ahead, sweetheart. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, my post that I did on Facebook is still up. Melissa can see it.
This video has been removed for violating YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah, the YouTube one is gone, but
That I clicked from your Facebook page. Here's this block party. I clicked on it and it took me to this.
how about the Zoom link? Can you click on the Zoom link from your
So
computer?
it said that. Yeah. This one here.
Yeah, click on the Zoom link.
That should work. That works.
Be right back. Good. Yeah, let's just see. Okay. Thanks, sweetie. We were just checking to see if.
So you can't use YouTube. You can use Zoom.
Yeah. Well, they're not suppressing. So here's what I think is going on. By the way, let's not talk about what we're using or what we're not using, because there's a darn good chance that the right desk at the NSA is listening to us right now, and so let's leverage this opportunity. NSA, Jason Group, whoever's listening, and it could be more than one entity. But here's what you need to know about what we're doing here, okay? We are working our tails off to save life on Earth, to stop the coronavirus, end world hunger, cool the planet, and thereby enjoy from the cascading beneficial effects of accomplishing all three of those and not letting any one of those three knock us out, or any combination of the three knock us out. Okay? And the way we're proposing to do that is with collective superintelligence. which is all about bringing humanity together so we can co-create all the solutions that we need as quickly as possible so that we can accomplish the 3 aforementioned goals. Stop Corona, end hunger, and cool the planet. That's what we're up to. So whoever is listening, I bet you're pretty darn smart. And I bet A, you would like to live, and B, you would like for your family to live. So that being the case, please join us so that together we can build collective superintelligence and solve these mega problems and save life on Earth. Please join us. And call your smartest friends. I bet you got a buttload of smart friends. Call them. Seriously, if they're listening, let's talk to them. Anybody have anything to add to these geniuses in the United States government, among others, potentially?
Well, I know one thing. They have smart people, and, you know, they have to be willing to understand what's going on, not just get one, you know, one way to look at it. You know, we got to look at the truth behind what's going on.
I'm not sure what's going on there, to be honest with you. I'm very confused about the fact that anyone would try to shut us down from having a conversation about trying to help the situation in the world or on the planet, or try to help in any situation. We're having a conversation about that, and I don't understand why anyone would try to shut us down, unless something in the conversation prior to what we were in one of our discussions has touched a nerve with somebody. And if that somebody has a nerve touched, then they have ulterior motives. So that's why they're shutting us down. Ulterior motives are always the reason, because they're not ballsy enough to stand up here and come on and tell us exactly why they're shutting us down. Because I'd like to know why. I'd like to know who I'm speaking to be honest with you. And I don't give a fuck who they think. Oh, they know where I am. It's not as if I'm going to do. It's not as if I'm doing anything out of the way, breaking any laws, doing anything devious, mischievous, trying to bring the government down or anything. We're only trying to make people see sense, especially governments, because they don't seem to be seeing sense lately anyway. The planet's falling apart around us, and we're only here trying to make some effort to do something about it. So if you have a problem with that, then you definitely have an ulterior motive. And I think myself, like, in honesty, when we're trying to deal with it in a respectful, civilized manner, the best thing you could do is join in that way, in that effort, rather than oppose it and shut it down, because all you're trying to do is force violence. You're trying to push people. I know, like, we all know what our history. And we all know what the government's histories are like. Is, you know, shut people down, confine them, don't, you know, cause confusion. You can't do that anymore. The world's falling apart around people, and their eyes have been opened. Like, so just join the conversation and help to sort out the problems. Because otherwise, the alternative is going to be terribly gruesome for people. And if that's your plan, then, you know, I suppose we're all fucking fucked if that's the case. Like, sorry for the language, but I mean, I'm pissed off because this is not right. Like,
Sorry, I had it muted. Melissa says we've done nothing wrong. Well, this is history in the making, and our species needs to know about such
Lack of
instances.
free speech.
And anyway, in the meantime, let's, like I said, if you have an idea, I'm going to consult with, sweetheart, will you let me know when you're free? Okay, so I'm going to check in with Melissa for a few minutes on who we can connect with. And if you have an idea, share it. Otherwise, you know what I think is the priority. I mean, you know, there's 9 of us here. Not enough for a hackathon, right?
Well, Jamin, try going back to your main channel. Maybe there was maybe that's back online. You know, you were doing this on Radish, so
Here's what occurs to me. Rather than going back to YouTube, because YouTube's already got us flagged, what if we shut off this streaming and streamed it on Facebook, just on Facebook? Then at least we give people a link that they can watch. Who cares what television network it's on? Let's broadcast. That's the important thing.
no. But at this point, you've lost the whole video, all the hours from today.
No.
right?
I am recording on my hard drive. I am recording everything from the morning all the way to now, and all the way until 6 a.m. on my hard drive. So we're not losing any video.
No, I'm saying the YouTube video. The YouTube video will not be rendered, is what I'm asking.
That's definitely true, Emery. You are 100% correct, and there's nothing we can do about that. And
Okay, so that's history.
That's history. So that's what I'm saying. If you have an idea about what we can do right now, I'm not talking to you, Emery, I'm talking to everyone. If you have a good idea about what we can do, or an idea that might be good, say it. If you don't say it, because we really got to focus. I'm going to talk with Melissa, and I'll be back.
Hello, Jamin.
Jamin has
Hello?
stepped away. Oh, he's coming back.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
it's Cynthia Anderson from Phoenix. This is my first time coming to a block party meeting, so I just looked at your schedule and saw that it was an open topic time. So I thought I would call in with some stuff that's been going on with me lately. And
Okay.
so it's about an Arizona ballot initiative that I'm hoping to get in for the 2020 election, which is really late to start collecting signatures, but I think we can pull it off. It has.
So here's the thing. We're actually in emergency mode right now.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, we you know, so the schedule has been usurped by emergency mode, and you're welcome to hang out, Cynthia. You're more than
Say
welcome.
what now?
You are more than welcome to stay with us on this video conference to learn about
Okay.
the emergency situation if you want.
No.
Okay.
But can I ask you something? If there's another way to contact, like if this meeting can't happen, if there's a way to contact the membership, because I'm trying to collect fees on animal products. We want to charge 70% duties on animal products. We want to set up a commission and a trust fund. And so we'll need probably software to help us manage this revenue collection and allocation. So if you know of software engineers, and I've got 5 categories of grants that we'll be allocating the revenues to. And one of them is for renewable energy. And solar, of course, is earmarked amidst Kinetic and others. And so it would be beneficial for you, because I think if you have an Arizona, we're focusing on Arizona genomes. If I had heard at one time there was discussion about this SRM looking for space anywhere to do a trial. And so I thought if you set up a corporation or, I don't know, a small business in Arizona for your SRM trial, you might be eligible for these funds that we generate
Yeah.
to do your project.
Yeah, I'd love to follow up later when we're not in the middle of an
in
emergency.
emergency.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so, do you have my email?
Give it to me. I will write it down and I'll send it to you. Or I can mail it to you through USPS, but either way, whatever's best for you.
Email would be best. So
Okay.
Jamin,
Okay. See, I hope it doesn't last forever.
thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All
you're
right. And then,
welcome here anytime,
Uh-huh.
including during emergencies. So, and thank you so
all
much.
right then.
And thank you
All
so
right. Take care.
Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Talk to you
Uh-huh.
soon. Bye for
Bye.
now. So, that's an example of, handling someone who's not ready for this conversation. Because I said she's in an emergency, the obvious question is what's the emergency? She's not ready for an emergency. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I think we need to, anyway, you guys know my thoughts. We need to focus on what we're focused on and on bringing in people who are basically grown up enough for this conversation. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, they talk about China being repressive to their people. And we have free speech in the US, right?
Totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got free speech, but we also have the finest NSA that money can buy. All right, I'm gonna if you see me muted and look like I'm talking to my phone, chances are I'm voice dictating a text message or an email.
When did you take a break?
Melissa's suggesting that I take a break. Well, I'm just gonna go on mute. I'll sit down, but I'll keep my ear. So if you guys need me, just yell Jamin, and I'll be either texting or talking with Melissa. But if you got an idea, just say, "Hey, Jamin, come here. I want to hear good ideas." Including, should we be streaming this on Facebook right now? So anyway, when Nolan gets back, somebody please ask him that, and just yell my name if you need me. I'm going to make a couple phone calls. Likewise, if you need anything, just call me, including if you have an idea. And if Nolan gets back, let him know about Facebook streaming. See what he says. I'll be back.
Is it even there?
Hey, Ryan. Myra.
Hi.
Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Jamin,
At your service.
there's something that's kind of like if you like couldn't the sun like so like the sun is kind of like fire, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're gonna reflect it back, it might like break the glass.
Well, you know, look, you could actually do this as an experiment. You could go outside with a mirror, hold it up to the sun, put your hand under the mirror. Now, don't let it reflect in your eyes, but just reflect it, I don't know, up towards a tree or a building or something, right?
Mm.
And you'll notice that the mirror doesn't get hot because it's actually reflecting the sunlight back. It's not absorbing it. If it absorbed it, it'd get hot. But the whole point is it reflects it away, right? Think about it this way. Let's say I was throwing baseballs to you. Let's say you're a catcher. You catch every time you catch a ball, you put it in your pocket. Catch another ball, put it in your pocket. Let's say I throw 3 pitches at you. At the end of the day, how many balls do you have in your pocket?
3.
3. You got it. Now let's say instead of being a catcher, you're a batter. And every ball I throw at you, you hit it away. Every ball I throw at you, you hit it away. Let's say I throw 3 pitches at you. At the end of the day, how many balls are in your pocket?
3?
None. Because you hit them all away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh? Okay. That's what the mirror is doing. It's batting the energy back out into space instead of absorbing it and putting it in its pocket. It's batter, not catcher.
Did
that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does it say block party right here?
Because it is a block party.
Because this whole event that goes for 24 hours, it is a block party.
So I get it.
Hey, but that's a great question. Keep the good questions coming.
Do you have another question? Otherwise, so you can go, Mimis.
I don't know. I guess no.
No? Okay, say good night to everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night, Ryan. Great to see you, buddy.
All right, Ryan.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
I just looked at my phone and it says 9:11. Okay. 9:11. That's where we're at right now. It's 9:11 time.
I just invited Kevin. Just invited Kevin Hester.
Awesome.
I just want to say there, no, first of all, anyway, to Maya, I apologize there, well, to the rest of you as well. I apologize for my outburst there a while ago, no, but I was just very annoyed of what's happening. But I forgot, like, it's very late here at night and in the morning for me, really, so I forgot about children being awake on your end, so I apologize for that, Maya, if Brian heard my outburst a while ago. But tell him that I heard what he said there when he asked his question to Jamin as well, and it was a very apt question for the moment, in the sense that he had a simple question about, in a simplified way, about our basic problem, which is the sun and the heat, the fire, is a good way of the terminology of putting it. And he asked a simple question about how the mirrors would work, and Jamin explained it to him, and he explained it to him in the terminology of the baseball as well, and Brian got that very well, very simply, and he was satisfied with that answer because it made sense to him, and that proved a very simple point here, that even Brian could understand the concept behind what we're trying to achieve here, and what we're talking about here, and what this block party is all about. And for it then to be shut down by whoever for whatever reasons, you know, that's why I got annoyed, because that does not make any sense to me at all whatsoever. But fair dues to Brian there for asking that question, and for being able to have the, you know, to being able to understand the answer. I wish some other people who were listening could do the same.
Well, the situation is that artificial intelligence has gotten very sophisticated, and they can use artificial intelligence to monitor what people are saying. And if they monitor what you're saying and it's consistent with their shutdown policy, then they'll shut you off. And there's not necessarily any human involved in the event.
All righty. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Hey, Jimmy. Oof.
So what's on the agenda?
Well, saving life on Earth is on the agenda, and I'm getting some feedback. Oh, it's probably from you, Myra. Are you talking, Myra? I'll just mute you, Myra, and then unmute whenever you want. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Myra. And thanks so much for that comment about Ryan. That's so cool. So I was talking with Melissa, and she said, I was like, who can we contact? And well, first we said a really powerful prayer, and then she said, contact Silas. So I sent Silas a text. And she said, contact Darmendra. So I sent Darmendra a text. She said, how about Dylan? Well, I had already texted Dylan. He's our amazing super connector. I'm going to go get a picture of my dad. I'll be right back. Remy? Thank you, sweetheart. How am I doing?
I sent Kevin Hester a link.
Awesome. Thanks, Emery.
What time is it now in New Zealand? I guess things are only going to get better from here. Okay.
In what sense?
Well, we've reached the bottom with,
That's
only
right.
get better from here.
That's right. This is the beginning of the steep exponential.
Exactly.
This is it.
This is
Everybody strap on your seatbelts.
This was the trigger.
This was the trigger. That's right. YouTube and whoever is pulling your strings, you are going to go down in history. You, Tube, are going to go down in history as the trigger that set this off. And you're going down in history as the villain. Wow, couldn't make this up.
Well, AI is on our side, right?
AI is on our side. Human idiots are on YouTube's side, or up YouTube's butt, or whatever.
What about some alternatives to YouTube? Like, what are they?
Oh yeah, we were just talking with. Did anyone pass this by Nolan? Nolan, we were mentioning streaming it on Facebook. Should we stream it on Facebook to give people a streaming option?
I'm not really happy about Facebook.
Oh,
Facebook is.
I love Facebook. No, I'm just kidding. I don't love Facebook. But what I'm saying is, hey,
Yeah.
you know, they're a channel through which we can broadcast live. And right now we need a live stream. I mean, it would help us if they have a live stream. It would help us.
How about Vimeo or whatever it is?
Yeah, Vimeo. Mm-hmm.
That might work, although there's a fee involved, I think.
Well, let's get creative here. What if I were to save this video and post it and simply entitle it Urgent Plea to Professor Guy McPherson and Company?
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah, just post it. Urgent Plea to Professor Guy McPherson and Company.
Well, I think the situation is that bots that analyze your YouTube, and if it has content that the algorithms determine are objectionable,
I
then they won't
Les,
allow it.
the worst that can happen is they'll take it down, but at least it's something we can try.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll
Yeah,
take it down right away. I mean, there's not much foul language in here other than the occasional F-bomb that James drops. And, you know, so I think we're okay. You're fine, James.
Oh,
Don't worry.
people drop the F-bomb on YouTube all the time.
That's what I'm saying. It's not to worry. So anyway, I'm just saying this is one thing we could do. Post this, and then in the description of the video, post the link to the Zoom conference and saying, this is happening right now. Please forward this to everyone you can. And, you know. And
I'll look for some alternatives to YouTube if you want me to.
Maybe you could do like a 15-minute video or whatever and post it on Facebook, upload it on Facebook, and we'll share it. You know, I'll share it, you know.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Because I don't think this particular recording has been going since our last break at 7:30, which is a couple hours. So it's so long, but not too long. It wouldn't take that long to process.
Well,
yeah.
The processing will take forever.
No, it won't. It's fast. It's fast.
But you can do a screen recording of your of the segment that's of interest, that's apropos, right? Do a screen recording, and then render that one. You render that one and post that, upload that.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm suggesting that we could do. But anyway, I'm rather than just do it, I'm just running it by all of you and saying, what do you think?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
It's a good idea. You know. But you have the original now. I mean, I couldn't do a screen recording because I don't have the Zoom file.
Yeah. So just to be clear on that one, Emery, There's only one person on earth who could possibly upload that video now, and his name is Jamin Shively. Good news is I'm him. So if it gets done, it'll be because I do it. And so I'm just, again, I'm having the conversation. I'm not, so we're beyond how to do it. Is it possible? How would we do it? We're beyond all that. The question is, should we do it? Yes or no? It's as simple as that. And arguments in favor or against are certainly welcome.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Yeah, what the heck?
I mean, urgent plea to Guy McPherson and company, right? And then email it to him. Yeah, go ahead, James.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with it as well, obviously, and I think we should try and send one out as well to the Extinction Rebellion crowd as well in England. Let them know what's happening. Let them know that we've been shut down. That we're doing. They know what. I'd imagine some of them have an idea what we're doing. So,
we have solutions. We have real solutions, and we've been shut down.
And what about getting a quick collage of like what together of what this is about, and putting it in the hands of some I don't know, media. I don't know whether they would play it or not. I don't know, but the fact that we've been shut down, I doubt it very much.
The media is in their own tailspin right now, and it's anybody's guess. They're probably trying to focus more on feel-good stories. It looks like the powers that be, are all trying to just keep the people, occupied with feel-good stories and, stay home, be safe. This will all be over soon.
Yeah.
So I'm not. So
I have another idea.
What you got?
Maybe it would be more effective if we regroup tomorrow or another day and have a recap of what happened. And then that could be integrated into something that could be sent off to, persons of interest like Guy or, other people. That could be more effective in bringing light to what's happened. And
Sweetheart, yes. Yes, Melissa. Go ahead.
Can I share a video with you guys quickly?
Yeah. Do you know how?
Okay.
Do you know how to do it with share computer sound? Here, I'll just come and show you.
Okay. I have the link. It's a link I have, and I've let's see.
Okay, I'm going to screen share and show this video. Bear with me a second.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and I want.
One second. Okay, here goes.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and I want to send a message to the Chinese people who are suffering so terribly from this outbreak of the coronavirus. It is a truly terrible time you're going through, and my heart is with all who are sick, all who have lost loved ones. I just hope and pray that the nightmare will soon be over. I also hope and pray that the nightmare may end for the wild animals who are captured and kept in horrible conditions for food, or because some people believe that various animal parts can be used to cure diseases or give people strength and virility. Because animals, bears, pangolins, civets, bats, rhinos, and so on, they all have feelings just like us. Like us, they suffer pain. Like us, they know fear, loneliness, and despair. All over the world, we've been destroying the places where animals live in order to get materials to build our homes, our cities, and to make our own lives more comfortable. And as a result, we've brought the climate crisis on ourselves. Many species of animals and plants have become extinct, and our too close relationship with wild animals in the markets or when we use them for entertainment has unleashed the terror and misery of new viruses. Viruses that exist in animals without harming them, but mutate into other forms to infect us with new diseases, like Ebola, SARS, MERS, and now the coronavirus. We have amazing brains, and we're capable of love and compassion for each other. Let us also show love and compassion for the animals who are with us on this planet. Let us all live in peace and harmony together. Thank you.
I would add to that was amazing, and thank you, sweetheart. I would add to that, we have amazing brains. Let's network them together, form the collective superintelligence, and generate the solutions that we urgently need to stop the virus and cool the planet. Amazing video. I mean, one of the things that inspires me to do is, you know, we do our own video. You know, it says urgent message to the Chinese people. Urgent message. Let's just do it country after country. One video. Urgent plea to guy. I'll just keep uploading it under different titles. What the hell? Right? Let them each go viral in their own way.
I remember the name I was thinking of. It's called Roxanne, and some of the YouTubers are sending video to Roxanne.
To who?
It's called Roxanne. I've never been to their site.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, feel free to type it into the chat so we can have a look, because I have no idea how to spell it. I mean, you know, just getting back to what we're up to here and why, the precautionary principle dictates that we don't know how reversible this situation is, because it's totally unprecedented. Last time we've had a major pandemic like this was the Spanish flu, right? And the thing is, the global economy at that point was far less interdependent than it is now. Far less interdependent.
There was an Ebola outbreak in Africa a few years ago.
Yeah, but that impacted a portion of Africa. It didn't impact the global economy. The African economy is relatively small. 10% of the African economy is in the city of Johannesburg.
That's true.
10% of the entire African economy is in the city of Johannesburg.
Wow.
That's how big the African economy is. So what we're talking about is shutting down whole supply lines for all kinds of spare parts, and it's just unprecedented. And it's such a fragile global economy. I mean, it was fragile before the coronavirus. And now it's just totally collapsing.
Okay, I put it in chat.
Rockfin Discover. And that's a way to, here, let me share it. Rockfin. Okay, let me share it. Oh, don't tell me. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know what happened to you guys. I'm looking for you. This is weird. So I presume you guys can see me.
Yep.
I can't get back to the.
We can see you, Jamin.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I don't doubt it. I just. I just have no idea how to get back to that window where I can see you all. Oh, there you are. That was funny. Okay. I don't know how the heck that happened. Really weird. Anyway. Whatever. That's really weird. Okay. Anyway, I'm back. Okay, can you guys see the screen share? So Rockfin, it just, I guess it's some kind of video sharing thing where you can post videos. This is Rockfin Discover. I guess that's if you're looking for something. Rockfin homepage, publish using Rockfin. Okay, so the basic idea is you can publish stuff here. It's like for monetizing content. I don't know how good of a job they do at promoting it. Anyway, so let's just think for a minute here. So I was starting to make a point a little bit ago that when I was talking with Melissa, I came back here and she had suggested that I contact Silas and Dharmendra and Dylan. And what's interesting about all these folks is they're all insiders who were on the video conference earlier today. And here's the basic idea is these are folks who already get it, right? Totally get it, and are on our side. And so imagine me, so I texted Silas. He may have gone to bed for all I know. But whenever he gets back to us, if we have this conversation with Silas, he'll immediately get it, and then he can get to work contacting whoever he needs to contact and say, please come here now. Please join us, right? And, I think he'll know a lot of great people to contact. Likewise, Dharmendra. Likewise, my brother Fred. Likewise, Jamie Gilchrist. Likewise, Dylan. Right? So basically, here's kind of how I think that makes total sense. Why cold call somebody who's not quite up to speed on all this, and then try to get him up to speed, right? And who knows if they're, I think that the person who just joined a little bit ago from Arizona is a kind of a perfect case study. If it's someone who's not up to speed on this conversation and you say we're in the middle of an emergency, feel free to hang out, right? She was not even interested to hear what the emergency was about, right? Most people do not have room in their life right now for yet another emergency. Their plate is quite full of emergency. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Thank you, Les. Thank you. It's just reality. But our friendlies, on the other hand, entrapment. Emery, what do you mean by entrapment?
The caller.
The caller?
That's what I thought. It was all too convenient to have somebody call in right then.
Entrapment. Anyway, but what harm did they do, right? Anyway. Yeah, Cindy Anderson is, but it's interesting, she hadn't been here before. And she called up with a very specific thing in mind. We can certainly follow up with her later. All right. But back to it, it's really our friendlies, I would say, are our most productive resource. I could just send out an email blast to the whole email list and say, We're having the most important conversation ever right now, and please join us if you can. We'll be going until 6 a.m. Right?
How many hours is that?
That's 8 hours and 9 minutes from now.
Hmm.
And at that time, when we get out of this meeting, we'll go on to our next meeting with Open Air, Project Open Air. If that still makes sense. I don't know. That may not make sense at this point. Because the reality, well, I don't know. Actually, you know what? That would be good. We could go to Project Open Air, say hello, everyone. You know, thank you all for working on, you know, DIY ventilators and stuff like that. We have a much more urgent crisis to work on, and I'd like to invite you all to join us in solving it. And here it is in a nutshell, right? Is it worth a shot? We've got 8 hours and 8 minutes to figure that out. That's a good sign. That's a lucky number, 808. So, remember, we were going to be seeing a lot of signs these days. So, so I could do an email blast. The Guy McPherson thing, now I'm kind of wondering about it. Like, he could be a real ally, but yeah, he has experience with being shut down. Yeah, that's true. So he'll definitely empathize with that.
He won't be shocked. That's for sure.
No, he certainly won't be. I mean, he's had so much stuff thrown at him, including, I think, death threats. Yeah, he can't do it all.
Okay. All right. Let me send him an email. I'm sure he's asleep. I'm 99% certain he's asleep right now. I think he's in Florida. Oh yeah. That's what I was saying. He'd probably be up before 6 a.m. our time, and may be interested in joining us.
He just recently gave an interview a few days ago. I added it to a collection on Wakelet. I did a collection about him. So whenever I get something new, I add it to the collection, so anyone can go and check it out.
Guy and Pauline an email. All right. All right, I sent that email to Guy and Pauline, and I see a smoker on the screen. Hey, this is a no smoking facility. No, I'm just this is my cousin. This is my cousin Bill in San Diego.
Smoker. Okay, no smoking.
Huh?
No smoking. Then I'm probably gonna have to leave. No, how are you? How's everything been going?
It's really kind of bizarre, actually. In a well, here I'll just cut to the chase in a moment. But first, let me welcome Kevin, who just popped on as well. Welcome, Kevin. And don't recall seeing Kevin Z here before. And so anyway, welcome, and feel free to unmute and say hello. We are recording, and we can always pause at any moment. So if anyone prefers that we pause, just say so. Because some people don't want to be recorded, and that's totally fine. Anyway, so smoker, here's what's going on, okay? So, let's see here. Okay. All right, smoker, have I talked with you about global dimming? Do you know what global dimming is?
Not global dimming, solar.
Solar radiation management. Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. There's all these particles up in the air, which, like, you know, coal burning power plants and stuff like that, that emit, you know, what is it, sulfate particles? I forget what exactly they are, but there's so much volume of it that it actually shades a significant portion of the sunlight that would otherwise be hitting the planet and heating up the planet. With the global economy shutting down, okay, grinding to a halt is what it's looking like. I mean, essentially, I mean, I don't know, let's say 70% of the economy shuts down. Well, listen to this. Guy McPherson, in his compilation of other research, other people's research, rather, primary research, discovered that if we have, say, a 20% reduction in particulate emissions, we can see a 1 degree centigrade temperature rise in a matter of weeks. Okay, that's with a 20% reduction in emissions. Can you imagine a 70% reduction? Now, actually, I don't know that. Here's the thing: coal burning power plants, most of those are going to keep going to supply electricity to cities. But A, will they be going at the rate they were going? They'll probably reduce production. But anyway, no matter how you slice it, we've got less particulates in the air. in the atmosphere. And so we could see spiking global temperatures.
That is interesting. That's something I did not consider.
Yeah, and so that just makes the whole situation that much more urgent. And basically the urgency is that we stop the coronavirus, get the global economy back on track, continue emitting all the dirty particulate emissions to keep us cool long enough to deploy SRM, because we need time to deploy SRM.
Wow.
And not only do we need time to deploy SRM, we need, welcome, Kevin, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hi, sorry to arrive in and barge into your discussion about the carrier as you were overdoing. Probably one of the biggest issues we should be discussing.
Wait, are you Kevin? Wait, who's Kevin Hester? Wait, you're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah, Kevin, can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you. Sorry about your conversation.
Sorry?
I can hear you. I assume you can hear me. I'm muted.
You know, I'm having such a hard time understanding what you're saying, and I apologize for that. Something going on with the audio. Hey, Smoker, I'm going to mute your mic. I was getting some feedback. Okay, let's try again. Go on mute. Try again, Kevin. Kevin?
I'm still here.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't understand the word you said earlier, but I'm going to go on mute and see if I can understand it. If you want to repeat again.
I heard you speaking about global dimming, and I think it's one of the most important issues we could be discussing as we see the shutdown all around the world taking place.
Gotcha. Well, welcome, Kevin. You've come to the right place. All righty. And I am getting some echo back and forth with you, so if you don't mind muting your microphone when you're not talking, that'd be awesome. And then just unmute whenever you want to say something. Okay? I mean, we definitely want to hear from you. We just have to be selective. And I'm happy to mute you if that's easy. Here, I'll just.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll mute you. All right, Kevin's muted. And then Kevin, when you want to talk, just unmute yourself. And if you have trouble with that, just wave your hand frantically and I'll unmute you, okay? All right, thanks. All right, so I was just filling in my cousin Bill, who just joined us. I was filling in Bill on kind of a brief synopsis of what the current scenario is, exactly the degree of urgency, and therefore what we need to do about it, okay? So we've got a reduction in global dimming, which Professor Guy McPherson predicted based on original research done by others. He's basically put together the most comprehensive synthesis of it all. And he's predicted if we suffered a 20% reduction in particulate emissions, that could cause a 1 degree centigrade spike in global average temperatures in a matter of weeks, okay? With the kind of economic contraction that we're staring down the barrel of right now, I think we're in for much more than 20% reduction in particulates. I think that's a fairly safe guess, right? And it is a guess. I mean, I'm not here crunching numbers of how many coal burning power plants are going to shut down or reduce production. But with so much of the global economy shut down, I can't imagine we'd need as much electricity. And so with those kind of spikes in temperature, combined with economic contraction / collapse, it paints a very bleak picture in terms of being able to effectively mobilize the planet and humanity in order to roll out the amount of solar radiation management that we need in time. Okay? And furthermore, if the global economy collapses, which it's looking like that's what it's doing, it's just kind of in a little bit slow motion, right? Because not everything is getting shut down at once. And some folks are still trying to make themselves believe that this might all be over in a matter of months and then back to normal. And my understanding of economics is it simply doesn't work that way. It's just too fragile, and it would be a long, slow recovery at best. And okay, so where am I going with all this? Where I'm going with all this is we're seeing a rapid increase in temperature and a rapid decline in humanity's ability to do what needs to be done to stop the increase in temperature. Because shut down the global economy, how the heck are we going to roll out millions of square miles of reflective material? I mean, it's possible, right? That even if the global economy shut down, I mean, actually one scenario is that, well, okay, bottom line. So that's all the bad news. The good news is that we're very close to getting collective superintelligence to grow exponentially. And as we do that, we can apply collective superintelligence to all of these problems, to stopping the coronavirus, everything from figuring out all the best policies to stop the spread, right, and to keep people safe, and solutions ranging from the dissemination of that information, right, to how do we get people food, to how do we work with the governments of the world and get them to do the right thing, et cetera, et cetera. These are very tall orders, of course. Did I mention getting a vaccine, developing a vaccine for corona and distributing it and mass producing it, you know, at sufficient scale and quality that we can, and distributing it to the world so that we can stop the coronavirus and so that the economy can bounce back. I mean, if we, right now we're holding the global economy underwater, and it's, you know, and it could kill it. It could really crash it. But if we pull its head out of the water quick enough, we might be able to resuscitate it and get it right back on track. And then we're in a much better position with respect to global dimming. We won't have the massive temperature spike. And we're also in a much better position in terms of rolling out planetary scale SRM, solar radiation management. Okay. So we need collective superintelligence for all of the above. That's where we're at right now. And if we muster the collective superintelligence in time, the good news is, and I'm going to screen share this for people, if we are, here, let me get the PowerPoint up. Okay. Can everybody see that PowerPoint? Yes, no, maybe? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Actually, I can't see people, so.
Yes.
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 Okay, great, thank you. All right, so the evolution of collective superintelligence, which is synonymous with radical collective intelligence, same thing. This blue box in the lower right corner represents the platform for collective superintelligence. The software, the rules, the culture, everything minus the people. When you add people, you get actual collective intelligence growing on top of the platform. And the more people who join and get on the platform, the bigger the actual collective intelligence grows. And as more and more people join, it grows and grows and grows. And it doesn't stop growing, but at some point its growth is constrained by the platform itself. Okay. Well, at that point, it's still a substantial collective superintelligence, a growing collective superintelligence, which, among other things, can take some of that massive brain power and direct it at designing and building the next generation of the platform for collective superintelligence, which in turn will be able to support a much greater absolute collective intelligence, which in turn will be able to do a whole bunch of wonderful things, generate a whole bunch of wonderful solutions, including the next generation of the platform for collective superintelligence, which will be able to support an even greater collective intelligence. And the really, really good news of all this is this whole thing can take off, and these cycles can be, a week long between versions. Why? This is just software. And as more and more people join and hear our story and our urgent pleas for humanity to come together and manifest this collective superintelligence, which is right at our fingertips, ready to go. We just need people at this point. We've got the basics figured out. In fact, we've been refining the basics for quite some time now. Bottom line, just add people. Because with people, just like I showed in those slides, we can design and build the next generation of the platform. Right now, we're just using Zoom and email and websites and a little bit of social media and YouTube and, and it's enough to get us this far and farther. So this is the platform we've got. This is the original blue box in the lower right corner that's kind of small and that collective intelligence grows on top of. Collective intelligence is happening right now. And right now we're applying it to the urgent objective of recruiting more folks to join us so that we can build out the next version of the platform and invite even more people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We need to do this very, very quickly because we are going down very, very quickly. Yes, Les.
Well, the platform just got smaller because YouTube dropped it.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
So we need to find a way to get this content out. People aren't going to be able to see. You can't. Zoom won't host our content. I know of.
Here's the thing: we can post this up on YouTube. They shut down the live stream, but will they shut down our posting of these videos?
They might, if you segment it. It is, they might censor some of them and not others. In other words, if you split it into sections, then you might be able to host some of it and not others. And then you find out what content they object to.
Yeah. Yes, James.
Yeah, like I said a while ago, I apologize there for my outburst and earlier on in response to being cut off. That was an outburst, no, to be honest, because to be honest with you, being cut off with YouTube, I still can't understand it, and it's making me angry. Like so, but neither that aside, like what you said there about the economy shutting down, and then the 70% of industry shutting down, and the spike in temperature. Like from my understanding of the science now as well, it's not just a spike of temperature that people around the globe won't experience an increase or spike in temperature in that sense, all like not all at once anyway, but they will feel the effects of the increase of the temperature. In other words, the storms and the you know that they're normally used to, the weather events that they're normally used to, that are starting to get more intensive, will get increasingly more intensive now, even faster. It's not just like, if you say the whole place is going to warm up, people wouldn't understand it, because it's not going to be warm on one point where it is going to be warm on another, if you get what I'm saying. So what we need to emphasize is that everything that we've been experiencing that's so crazy with the weather lately is going to exponentially get worse very quickly now, because of what's happening with the industry shutdown. Because if we just say it's going to get very hot, well, most people around the place wouldn't believe that, because it's not getting hot in their places. What I'm saying, we need to explain that everything is going to go crazy in weather-wise, like if the temperature increases.
Yeah. No, exactly. Because people have already seen the trends with temperature and the effects with the melting ice and the disintegration of Antarctica and Australia on fire and Greenland on fire, North America on fire, all the wildfires. Anyway, so that's the bottom line. The bottom line is that not just human life, but complex life is now seriously threatened, all of complex life, if you consider the cascading events of economic collapse, spread of the virus, loss of global dimming, spike in temperature, catastrophic collapse of humanity's ability to respond by rolling out SRM. See, pre-collapse, we had / have, if we can pull us out of collapse by stopping the virus. Pre-collapse, we were perfectly positioned to roll out SRM from an industrial and logistics and even ocean engineering standpoint. But if everything is shut down and no one can get anything going again, because there's no money, there's no market, there's no spare parts, everybody quit and went home, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of the older folks died of the virus, who were the ones with a lot of the institutional knowledge that's crucial to keeping a big corporation going. Relationships that hold corporations together in networks or consortia. All these factors play in. And anyway, I could go on and on about the cascading doomsday scenarios, but the bottom line is that we can and must and therefore will do something about it, a lot of somethings. And the engine of those somethings, the mother of those somethings, is collective superintelligence. And the action item right now is get more good people into this meeting and other meetings. And we'll talk about frequency of meetings and whatnot in a bit, because right now we're at 2 very long meetings per week. One of them's 24 hours long. Another is this last Tuesday, we went for 9 hours at the Solution Club. And then tack on a couple hours for the open air meeting, which follows this meeting, which I still think is a good one to go to. And we're at 35 hours of meetings in 1 week, right? Yeah, Emery, right. It's too bad Kevin's audio was so broken he could not participate effectively. Was that Kevin Hester? That was Kevin Hester.
Yes, it was.
See, I couldn't even hear. I was like, "Are you Kevin Hester?" And he's like, yeah. So
I thought if he could have shut his video down, he could have had more bandwidth for his audio.
well, listen. Feel free to tell him to dial in. With his phone.
I don't know.
Okay, thanks, Emery.
Hard to reach him. So.
Yeah, well, you got through once. You can get through again, and it's a reasonable hour there. Early in the morning, I guess. No, it's early evening rather, not early in the morning, early evening. So, anyway, so that's where we're at. We need to invite more people here to this conversation. We need to grow the conversation exponentially. And as our numbers grow, so will our programmers, the people who can code up what we need to code up or help cobble together what we need to cobble together platform wise, right? Wait, how do you pronounce Cesari's, what is it? Agora? What do you call it? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's Agora.
Agora. Okay. With Agora, that's already, a very beneficial part. But here's what I'm thinking. Almost rather than cobbling together stuff right now, I think here's what I think is potentially a better play, a stronger play, is to go straight for exponential growth in membership, let the numbers swell right here on these existing venues, and we sound the alarm and we talk through the logic that we've uncovered today, and we simply keep putting out the call, keep beating the drum until the numbers here have swollen so much between those participating and those watching live streaming, which we can, my understanding is we can do it through Facebook. I still haven't heard either anyone saying, no, we shouldn't stream it live on Facebook, or yes, we should. What are we waiting for? I haven't really heard a strong yes or a strong no. I've kind of heard a bunch of crickets. So I'd love to hear some responses on that. But my point is simply this, that we focus on growing our numbers and producing videos and broadcasting until our numbers grow to such a point that we have a critical mass of people, not just programmers, but people generally, who can help us build out the platform that we want quickly, which could be as simple as a dashboard connecting together with appropriate, back-end connections, through APIs and such, connecting the dashboard to the various different web services that we're working with, right? That's perfectly viable, right? But anyway, the bottom line is we need two things, just like the slides I shared of the exponentially growing collective intelligence. We need two things to make collective superintelligence grow: the community and the platform. Put those two together and whoosh, off we go. Everybody's at home. Everybody's got a computer. Everybody's got internet. We just need to get the people here as quickly as possible. And once we get through to somebody with a software company or something like that, right? Or simply the right connection, somebody with a lot of pull on GitHub, right? Someone who's very well social networked, GitHub coder, right? You know, probably a few badass coders could get together and put this whole thing together. We map out what we want, the data flows, design the database. I could probably design the database tonight, but I'd rather do it with those folks. So let's round up the techies we need, and let's get this dashboard, database, and overall architecture and data flows. Let's get that sorted out as quickly as possible, because then, even if it's under construction, we've now got images, we've got, you know, a database schema, we've got, you know, scenario drawings and everything else. Here it is. It's this simple, right? Because right now it is, you know, one of our, you know, shortcomings right now is that it's a bit hand wavy, right? We haven't made it precise. Even the database, I think, would be a good step forward. So maybe later tonight we'll design the database. Why not? It's something we can do in a matter of a couple hours, probably. And that's not because the job is small. It's because I'm really, really good at designing databases. So let's leverage the strengths that we have. See my cousin there? He's really, really good at smoking cigars. That's why I call him Smoker. You just keep smoking, Smoker, and I'll keep designing databases. See, Smoker is contributing to the global dimming effect. He's putting more particulates up in the air. Thank you, Smoker. You're keeping us alive.
I'm glad I can help in my small way. You're kind of depressing me a bit, Smoker.
Here's the thing, Smoker. When, you know, when you're in a crisis situation, you're in a crisis situation. None of us gets up in the morning and prays for a crisis situation to happen in that day. Sometimes it just happens, right? Did you ever see that movie Alive about the plane that crashed in the Andes? That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I did. Very good.
And on the DVD of that movie, on the back of the DVD, they have this 1 hour documentary where it was like 20 years later, and they interviewed all those folks, all the survivors. That's kind of like this situation, right? We've crashed. We didn't want to crash, and yet we crashed. And now we're running out of time. Those guys were running out of time. Guys and gals. There were some women on the plane too. The women died shortly after the crash. One of them died in the avalanche of snow that pounded him. Remember the avalanche? I mean, it's like their situation was bad enough, and then this giant avalanche of snow comes and just buries them, and a few more people died. And then they're all buried in snow. And that's kind of like where we're at now. It was bad enough with exponential planetary overheating, and then Corona comes. That's the avalanche, right? And you know, and at that moment, you're like, how the hell could they ever make it out of there alive, right? Especially after that. And well, we're gonna find a way. Failure is not an option.
It's pretty interesting, Smoker, because I'm totally ignorant about a lot of things. But the one thing I was thinking, okay, the economy is going to slow down a little bit, less pollution, everything going on, maybe that's the one bright spot or bright point of all this. And then I just turn this on. I'm going like, uh-oh. It's kind of interesting. And maybe you guys discussed this earlier. I'm trying to convince myself that things aren't going to be that bad, and this is hype, and in a couple of weeks we'll come out of this and everything will go back to normal. But I'd be interested to see what your guys' opinion is on all that.
Well, here, let me tell you. I mean, that would be nice, but everything that I've been hearing from analysis from experts and whatnot is the opposite of that, that this is going to be a prolonged downturn, which, could well mean collapse. Collapse of civilization, potentially. So, but we could hope. See, here's the thing. Do you remember back to that movie Alive? And if those of you who haven't seen the movie Alive, watch it, about the plane crash. Remember they were early on in the movie, in the few days after the crash, they were hopeful that rescue planes would see them and send out a rescue party and get them, right? And then they heard a couple of guys heard on the radio that they had called off the search, remember? And at first, only couple of the people had heard it, and everybody else was inside the plane. And they're like, the person who was kind of the default leader of the group, who had been the captain of the rugby team, Antonio, he said, we can't tell the rest of the group that they've called off the search because they will give up hope, right? And then the guy who emerged as, one of the two heroes, they were all heroes, but there were two heroes who hiked out of there for 10 days over mountains and through the snow and everything else, and got help after starving and being, pretty emaciated. I mean, they were eating flesh, of course, of the dead to survive. But Nando Parado, who was one of those two guys who hiked out, played by Ethan Hawke in the movie, Nando Parado said to Antonio, "What's so great about hope?" And then Nando goes into the plane and says, "Get everybody together. We got to have a meeting right now." And do you remember what he said to them? He said, "All right, everybody, there's good news. They've called off the search." And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Good news? How the hell is that good news? And Nando said, because now it's up to us to save ourselves. That's the good news. And that's the situation we're in now. The good news is the global economy is in free fall and people are at home. How is that good news? Because people are at home, they can get on video conferences and we can build out collective superintelligence. We can go from one video conference to 10, to 100, to 1,000, to tens of thousands, to literally hundreds of thousands and even millions as humanity falls in and joins the collective superintelligence. This is our way out of this mess. And there's no other way out that I can see that's reliable. This can reliably generate the solutions that we need. We know that it can. And now we need to round up humanity and do it. We, with a lot of help from God, from Mother Earth, from all the good angels and light workers, our ancestors, we need all, like that song, Calling All Angels. Don't tempt me or I'll sing it.
I'd kind of like to hear that song.
All right. Let me pull it up. And we're going to sing it karaoke style, okay? All right, let me screen share this bad boy. And get a sip of water. And I'll be right back. Okay. Time to screen share. There we go.
Upwork has the world's largest network of proven independent professionals. It's like having a go-to graphic designer right here. Oh, I like the green one. Thanks. When you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how.
I need a sign. All of these blinders.
I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up.
That's where we're at. We're calling all angels, and calling all of our friends and relatives, and saying, "Hey, how you doing? I need you to join a meeting." Smoker.
That was beautiful, first of all.
Thank you.
That was actually pretty cool. Made me feel a little better because it's been an interesting week, as you know. And I think, like a lot of people out there, I'm thinking, you know what? This is all going to blow over. Everything's going to go back to normal. The typical response of the average person of, no, everything's going to be okay. Don't have to worry. I don't have to do anything, you know. And I've definitely been guilty of that. So I was hoping to jump on here and get some positive news, at least here. Hey, you know, at least the bright side of this, that there's less pollution, less everything going on. And I was kind of just like hit by a steam train right there.
Well, Smoker, number one, first off, there is good news. You just have to listen for it. The good news is everybody's home in front of their computer and ready to jump on a Zoom video conference. Second off, if you do get hit by a steam train, you can handle it because of all the Chinese belly whomping we've done over the years. It's toughened you up, so you'll be fine. It's the train I'm worried about.
Right on, Smoker. Okay, that makes me feel better. Oh, man. Wow. Well, have you guys discussed this whole virus thing going on? I don't know whether it's all media hype or if there's something to it. The part that scares me is there's something to it, and this is going to become more serious than it already is. I'm hopeful that in a couple of weeks I'll be like, what do you know? Everyone, you know, it did affect a couple people, unfortunately, but it was over exaggerated, and let's go back to normal life. So I don't know what your guys' opinions are. Again, I've learned I have a lot of questions. I don't have a lot of answers. That's usually my case. So, but I'm sure you've already talked about this. Obviously, I jumped in when you guys were right in the middle of it, and it was interesting what I was hearing. Something I wasn't thinking about. So,
Well, we're almost at the 17-hour mark of our meeting. And, thanks. Only 7 more hours to go. Look at Nolan. He looks bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready for 7 more hours of meeting.
good stuff. Well,
maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
if I had some cereal flakes to be eating right now, smoking, it would be appropriate. So, okay, Smoker, so you're saying a lot of people will be in front of the computers, which is true. And collective intelligence maybe will pull us out of this. Something I didn't consider in the slightest, I never thought is the pollution that we produce in the crazy equilibrium that this earth has come into. Is that something good? I know it's not good in the overall long run, but it sounds like it's something I never considered. Sounds like maybe that's been kind of keeping things in check for a while. Interesting. So I'm gonna try to get some more particulates in the air though tonight with
Thank you.
my I'll do my little part. It's, right on. Well, wow. I was actually plugging in because I was, like I said, I was hoping to hear something positive. But
I told you, it's good news. Everybody's at home. You have to listen for it, though.
that's like the dude Nando coming into the plane. He's like, "Hey, muchachos, we got some good news."
They called off the search.
Oh man! So who's ready to hike through the Andes?
I'm game. Evan's here.
Almost there.
Now we're talking. Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was actually getting ready to go to bed, but I wanted to stop back and say hey and see where you guys were at.
Glad you popped that back in, because now you can join us for the final 7 hours and good morning.
All right.
Well, we just distinguished, Evan, that just consider, okay, you know all about global dimming, right? Okay. Obviously, particulate emissions are down. Guy McPherson predicted that even if we retracted 20% of global emissions of particulates, that we'd see approximately a 1 degree centigrade temperature spike in a matter of weeks. Okay, so we could, and that in turn, would just further accelerate the vicious cycles already underway, because it would just be that much more heat and temperature to continue melting ice and overheating the oceans and all that. So that's one piece of bad news. The other piece of bad news is that our ability to respond to this crisis with solar radiation management is rapidly diminishing as the global economy contracts / collapses. All right, so that's the second piece of bad news. Put those two together and we're between a rock and a hard place that are closing in on each other. And we may not have much time. Time to do what? Well, listen to this. If we can stop the coronavirus through a combination of stopping the spread and developing the vaccine, and figuring out how to mass produce and distribute the vaccine so we can get it into the hands of everyone who needs it. If we can accomplish that, if we can stop the coronavirus and get food to everyone in parallel with that, and that's actually a really important part of stopping the coronavirus, because if we can deliver food to everyone just like they did in China, we can stop the spread, because people won't have to go out anymore. People are leaving their homes because they need to go get food, right? We need to organize, and we totally have the capacity to do this, but we need to organize essentially the biggest airlift of food in human history by a few orders of magnitude. I'm using airlift metaphorically. What we're really talking about is just getting all the logistics revved up and going, getting the restaurants back to work producing the food. Those that have, well, actually, a lot of the restaurants haven't shut down yet, especially the ones that are doing takeout or delivery. That's my understanding. But regardless, we need to get the restaurants and the bakeries and the cafeterias back to work producing food. And we need, if it takes people in hazmats to do the deliveries, whatever. But I don't think we have to go that far. I think we can just drop off pallets of food at the gateways to neighborhoods and let the residents distribute it from there, right? Just drop off a pallet, have a police officer there with appropriate protection, and boom, they supervise, all the food gets delivered. Okay? So that'll have multiple positive benefits, but the first is to stop the spread of the virus and make sure everyone has enough to eat. And then people will be happy. They won't be freaking out. They'll say, wait a second, well, at least we'll have food to eat, so you know what, we can just chill out. And essentially just put a pause on all other business, right? Landlords don't charge rent. Government stop charging taxes. Everybody just chill out on billing, right? Provide electricity, water, and communication services as public utilities, and with the promise that, we'll keep you running. So it's central planning, but not by government, but by collective superintelligence. That's one of the reasons we need collective superintelligence. And this is just blocking and tackling, keeping food flowing and distributed and all that. That's not rocket science. What is rocket science is creating the antidote for the virus. And that's where we need to get all the biologists and microbiologists and fungologists and everything that ends in ologist. We need to get all those people together, right? Working together in collective superintelligence capacity to develop the vaccine. So those are our two big action items. Develop the vaccine and stop the spread, mainly through food distribution and other major government measures worldwide. Every government in the world, every country in the world is staring down the barrel of their own demise if we don't do exactly what I'm saying. Gee, I sound like some big, Pink Panther terrorist or something like that. If they do not do what I say, the whole world will be destroyed. But that's kind of what I'm saying. But not because I have the bomb, but because we have the solution. You must do what I say. Now. It's true. We have to form and exponentiate planetary collective superintelligence to stop the coronavirus, distribute food globally, and then cool the planet through SRM. And solve the rest of our problems. But we start with those. We start with those three. All right. We haven't had a break in 3.5 hours. I might want to have a little late night snack, maybe even followed by a smoke. Anyway. So, how's everybody feeling? Who else wants to take a break? James, how you doing?
I'm going to sign off, Smoker. I'm going to follow up tomorrow morning if I get there in time.
Yeah. Hey, we'll be going till 6 a.m. And at 6 a.m., the party moves over to Project Open Air, where we're going to do some recruiting.
You're going to continue after 6 a.m.?
Oh, yeah. We move over to a different meeting that last time went for I don't know, close to a couple hours.
All right. I'll see how I'm doing at that time. And,
but if you want to join that other meeting, you got to show up here before 6 a.m. because we'll share out the link and everything at that time.
All right, Smoker. Well, I was hoping to get some good news from you muchachos.
I keep telling you, it is good news.
It is good news. They've called off the search.
The good news is everybody's at home. in front of their computers,
They're
wondering
still
what to
making,
do. Well, we've got an answer to that wondering what to do. You don't have to wonder any longer. Come here, join us.
they're still making me work, but I got the weekend off, but we'll see. We're doing what we can on the distribution side. So, all right, Smoker.
Actually, your company is one of the companies that's needed to keep the global economy running.
Yeah. Well, as you know, California did a stay-at-home order, except only for essential businesses, and because we're involved in supply chain and distribution, all that stuff in terms of food and other essentials to try to keep the economy running. I keep hoping and thinking that, I don't know, next week they're going to say, hey, what do you know, this anti-malaria medicine works great. Everyone relax. Everyone's going to be okay. Go back to work. Because from what I've learned from you, the solar radiation management, man, that just seems like a solution. You hear so many people talking about the problem. We all know the problem. We all understand the problem. It's like it's time for solutions. So they've called off the search, muchacho. So maybe that's good news.
It is good news because now it's up to us. Yeah, look, we can always hope for, solutions just like what you indicated, that they've got some vaccine already and they just need to crank it out, whatever. But the precautionary principle dictates that we need to prepare for the worst. And the worst case scenario is that there is no vaccine in the pipeline that'll fit the bill. That's the worst case scenario. It's not the one we're hoping for, but it's the precautionary principle dictates that we need to prepare for the worst. The worst is what I've described, and the solution is the one I've described. And the bottom line is that the action item is to invite everyone we know to join us. But starting with the people who are starting with the people who are in the best position to assimilate the news that we have to share and are ready to act on it, who are also going to be in a position where they can act on it. I mean, like, for example, my cousin Jimmy, your brother Jimmy, he'd be a perfect person to join. He's got gobs of connections throughout academia who we need, who we could totally leverage. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get Jimmy.
I'll give that muchacho a call.
All right.
I'll tell him next Friday, 6 a.m. I haven't spoken with him actually in the last week or so, so I imagine, where his university's been probably shut down quite a bit, so he's probably bored.
Exactly. No, this is a good challenge for him, and Danny too. Let's get Danny on. Right. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll call Danny. You call, unless you'd rather call Danny, but you definitely call Jimmy. You call Jimmy. I'll call Danny. Let's do it that way.
All right. We'll call someone.
Not someone. And also, Smokes, anyone else you know.
Yeah.
Who you think. Just think.
It's like the spread of the coronavirus. It's like, hopefully, well, okay.
Listen. Here's the meme. We've got the antidote, and we need volunteers to help us crank it out. We do have the antidote. It's called collective superintelligence, and we need volunteers to help us crank it out. That's it. We've got the antidote. See? The solution was right in front of us. Now we need to get that message out.
Good news.
We've got the antidote, and we need your help.
We've
got the antidote in the pipeline, but to get it through the pipeline, we need your help. Not your money, your help. Yep. What's the action item? Join a Zoom video conference. We do marathon Zoom video conferences twice a week now. We should probably start the Tuesday one at 6 in the morning instead of 11. No, we don't want to start that early.
How about, yeah, maybe like not 9 a.m. or something like that.
Something like that. We'll figure it out. I don't know. For the moment, it's still 11. Because here's the thing. We don't want to burn ourselves out, right? So we got to pace ourselves, even in the midst of games. Yeah.
On that note, I'm just going to say, Jim, it's actually 6 a.m. here now. So I've been up since yesterday morning. I'm going to take a nap for a few hours, and I'll just have my camera switched off. But I'm going to take a nap for a few hours tonight because I want to have a bit of energy in the morning to get onto people to get back onto this in the morning.
Love it. Awesome.
Awesome. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much, bro. All right. We'll see you in a few hours.
Nice to meet you, Smoker.
He's talking to you, Smoker. All right. Thanks so much, James. We'll see you soon. See, James, he's got the spirit. I'm going to sleep a few hours and I'll be back. And then he's going to round up half of Ireland and much of England. I'm not kidding. He's a good smoker.
You know, without note smoker, I might turn in myself. It's been a long week, and well, no, let's if I wake up early enough, I'll jump back on and see what you guys have what conclusion you guys have come to. But keep going, and Godspeed. So good news, they call off the search party.
Oh, good news. Yep. All right, Smoker. Give my love to everyone.
I will.
We'll see you in the morning.
Same here. We'll see
All
you
right,
then.
Smokes. See you soon. Have a good night. Thanks.
And why do you call him Smoker?
It's just we're cousins, and so we,
Okay.
come up with nicknames and stuff like that. It's just
Yes.
just having fun.
I bet he smokes and a lot.
No, he doesn't smoke a lot, but like on a Friday night, he'll have a cigar, and, maybe a couple little cigars a week. No big deal.
Okay.
It's just one of those things.
So what is the plan for later? Are you planning on doing the same thing you did last Friday with jumping to another?
Yeah. At 6 in the morning, we'll head over to Project Open Air and tell them what's going on now, and and basically invite them to join us, right? And not like we're trying to poach them from open air stuff, but we need them here as well. We need them in the collective superintelligence. Now, Emery just wrote us that he spoke with Kevin, could not come to terms with any measure of hope. Emery, would you be good enough to share with us a little more about that?
Yeah, I spoke to him, and he's. I think he's convinced that we've had it. He doesn't hold out any hope, and he classifies the efforts that are ongoing as hopium, and there's not much to do. The SRM doesn't work for him, so
What does he mean it doesn't work for him?
I don't know. Well, he's got his opinions, right? he's been with Guy for ages now, you know. So I think they're kind of on the same page, actually.
Goodness.
Yep.
He wouldn't even hear us out?
Well, I told him, look, you know, the audio was broken, you know, and you know, if you shut the video, you could have better ability to participate in the conversation and be able to express yourself. But, I think that his main point in life now is that there won't be very much life in the near future. So that's that. I mean, it's not to say that if you know, I mean, we keep trying. We have nothing else to lose, right? Do what we can.
If we try and fail, I can live with that and I can die with that. But if we don't try, I can neither live with that nor die with that. But more important than all that is what Yoda said. Try not, do. So let's do it.
You know, I've been overcome with a similar feeling of hopelessness, or like maybe we're all just strung out on hopium. Maybe that's what this is. And the end times are they're really here. Corona's coming, sweeping the world, and who knows what will be next. But I like to perform an exercise in my brain to allow myself to enjoy life, which is that I tell myself that sensation of feeling like things are falling apart is because things are falling apart. And in the decay of that old wood on the forest floor, will there now be new room for a whole new world to grow from? Like, I think everyone would definitely be most comfortable with radical change happening with society at its peak. So, I mean, realistically, like, in order for people to open themselves up to change, radical things are going to have to start happening. And if we as people don't make them happen, they're going to happen by nature herself. And I think coronavirus is a great example of that, of where you have human beings messing around with animals and nature, and then this comes out of it. It's kind of as a collective indicator that if we don't act as all one collective, we will ultimately all perish because of it. And so I try and see that the coronavirus is actually an indicator that things are changing, that we're open to change. But I do think it's unsettling for a lot of people. But I think one of the best things we can do is to just hold on to that vision of what's going to grow. What's going to grow. That way, we aren't identified with the structures that are falling apart. We're helping contribute to what's going to come out of all of this.
Yeah, I think it's simply a matter that we, as a species, we just need to get over it. We need to get over the fact that what's happening is happening, and that we do have a pathway to survival. It's no guarantee. And we are going to give this extinction, one way or another, whether we succeed or fail, we are going to give this extinction bullshit one hell of a run for its money. And we're going to have a blast doing it. What could be more fun than exponentiating collective superintelligence in the face of omnicidal destruction? Because with the nuclear power plants melting down, 440 nuclear power plants going Fukushima, the radiation, the ionizing radiation, could fry the atmosphere and turn this planet into a rock more like Venus or Mercury. Not the bountiful, life-giving planet that we've come to know and love. So the stakes are really, really high. For example, we are the only intelligent life in the universe that we know of. There could be others, there could be more, but this could be it. So this isn't like, you know, taking a gun and pulling the trigger and committing suicide, and then your family does a funeral and everybody's sad and all that, and then life goes on. No, this is about all of humanity getting wiped out, and perhaps most, if not all, of complex life, and in fact the entire planet, life on the entire planet for potentially all future time, could be extinguished if the atmosphere is fried and disappears and we're just left with a lifeless hot rock, right? That's kind of like a much, much, much bigger tragedy than me just like shooting myself in the head and my family being really sad about it. This is like trillions of times worse. I wouldn't want one suicide on my conscience, but trillions, the equivalent of trillions, that's a lot of bad shit on my karma. So I'm just not willing to go down like that. We have to try. I don't care what Kevin Hester or anyone else says. We have to try, and we don't know our potential. We don't know what we can do and what we can't do. We simply don't know because we haven't gotten together yet to form collective superintelligence. Now, if we do come together and put together collective superintelligence, and we try and go and grow and grow and do all this cool shit, and it's still not enough, well, at least we died fighting. That movie that Billy and I were talking about, Alive, where those two guys hiked out for 10 days up and over mountains through the snow, and all that, when they were emaciated from hunger, right? One guy said to Nando, who was the guy I quoted earlier, right, played by Ethan Hawke. The other guy said to Nando, he said, you know, because they'd like the first big mountain that they climbed, thinking that maybe that was it. That was the most that they didn't need to climb, and then it'd be all downhill from there to the green valleys of Chile. Turned out it wasn't the case. They got to the top of the mountain, they look out, and there's just more mountains as far as the eye can see. And the one guy says to Nando, "We're going to die, man." And Nando says back to him, "Maybe. But if we die, we're going to die walking." That's what not giving up looks like. And that's exactly what we need to do right now. Maybe we'll die, fine, but we're going to die building and manifesting and utilizing collective superintelligence. That's walking for us, is using collective superintelligence to come up with a vaccine, distribute food, stop the spread of the virus, and cool the planet, and whatever else we need to do to keep the economy running. And especially those portions of the economy that we need to do SRM and to feed everybody and to stamp out the virus. Jason. I know more than one Jason. Which one are you?
Well, until Jason introduces himself, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go to bed, get some sleep. But I really appreciate you guys and what you're all doing by being here, and what anyone is doing by listening to this at any point in time. Yeah, it's so good to know there's people out there who are thinking about this stuff, because that's where it all starts.
Yeah, and we're just about to break through. I mean, let's face it, this lame response of, "Oh, I don't think you can do it." Come on, dude. You know. Gross. So, I just don't think that that like we're the only ones who are willing to put up a fight. Right? I think there are more. Many more.
Yeah.
Millions more, and we just need to break the log jam and open up the floodgates so they can come pouring in. It's what they want to do. They just don't know we exist yet. So they need to know. So let's figure out a way to get them to know. All right. It's been almost 4 hours since our last break. Let's take a little break. How long do people need? Evan, you're going to get some sleep.
Yeah.
See you, man. Thanks for being here today.
Bye, guys. Love you.
We'll see you soon. Love you too, Evan. Take care. All right. How much of a break do we want?
My vote is 15.
All right. 15. Going once. Blah, 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 15, blah, 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 15, blah, 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 20, blah, 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 20, 25. No, I think 20 is a fair count. Like, if you wanted 15, I don't think you'd be lobbying. Oh, would you like numbers that end in 5? I mean, we'll show a trip. We'll show a trip, man. Anyway. All right. 20 minutes. So it's now 11:25. At 11:45, at quarter till, 45 after the hour, we'll be back. Great to see everybody. We'll see you in 20 minutes at quarter till. Love you all. See you soon.